The future of mining is centered on digital, green, and automated operations, whilst prioritizing environmental, social, and governance principles to reach net zero emissions. Nevertheless, with a 79% decline in African mining deal value since 2021, it raises questions about the shift of mining and its implications for Africa, despite the fact that over 50% of the world's critical minerals are located in super regions that include Africa. In the early days of January 2026, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia hosted the 5th Future Minerals Forum, also known as FMF. The government-led mineral platform gathered leading industry experts and government across the globe to dissect the current mining and minerals activities based on sound figures from the FMF Barometer report. And as we near the UN 2030 decarbonization goals, the rising demand for cleaner energy is becoming more evident. As a result, the extraction of essential minerals has shifted from being just a necessity to a key factor in the global geopolitical arena, with nations vying to secure the supply chains crucial for the shift to green energy, artificial intelligence, and defense industries.
The fact that we welcome so many of you today is again is a sign of just how important our work is to the global community. Those who were with us at the first 2022 inauguration of the Future Mineral Forum Ministerial Roundtable may remember that we welcomed 32 countries in Riyadh in initial focus on what we have called at the time the super region covering Africa, West and Central Asia. Today, we are joined by ministers and senior representatives from more than 100 countries and 70 organizations representing globally. Our scope has expanded at the request of supplier countries from regions such as Latin America, a development that shows the global relevance of our gathering and conversation, and is a testament to our ability to shape solutions. We have also witnessed great interest from customer countries wanting to be part of this important discussion. This growth was driven by the conviction of our new partners in our mission. What we represent today is not only numbers, as around this table, we have all G20 countries represented, supplier and customer countries, indicating that we are having the right dialogue with the right representatives at the right time and place. This also speaks to our shared responsibility to charter a new era of global development, prosperity, and stability through minerals. Please join me in acknowledging the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's leadership role in creating this platform, which has grown into a global cause. We are here today because we recognize that minerals are central to global development. Our countries cannot achieve our economic or industrial ambition, or indeed our energy goals without secure, resilient supply of minerals. That supply cannot also happen without large-scale investments or the applications of the innovative technologies that require such funding. Resources are not just at the heart of the technologies that will drive electrification and digitalization. They are also at the heart of industrial development, of future jobs for supplier countries and consumer countries, also ultimately the global growth of global community. Nevertheless, we acknowledge that we are facing challenges. project development is slow, and politics fragmented or policies fragmented. Globally, we see infrastructure gaps, financing constraints, and lack of trust in the sector. No country can solve these challenges alone, but through genuine and determined collaboration, working together, I'm sure countries around this table can do a difference. This is why I use the word cause deliberately. We believe in a noble cause, a global minerals movement, and we have the power to cause great things to happen through our work. We have made excellent progress over the last 5 years, perhaps more than some expected us to achieve. And that is detailed in the leaflet in front of you, but I will share with you some examples. Where in collaboration with the World Bank, we are addressing a financing gap in mineral exploration and have placed funding for infrastructure firmly on the global agenda. We are leading a new conversation focusing on transparency and traceability in mineral supply, with work underway to develop standards that reflect our reality. We are also creating a network of centers of excellence for capacity building. Those cover talent, sustainability practices, and technology enablement. All of these show a purpose of the Ministerial Roundtable: finding common grounds on difficult issues, aligning supplier and customer countries, and bringing governments, industry, and multilateral organizations under one roof.
Today, I will focus on 4 points: the growing demand for minerals and the opportunity it creates for resource-rich countries, key challenges that limit supply and local benefits in developing economies, how the World Bank Group is responding through our new metals and minerals strategy, and the essential role of partnerships. Minerals such as copper, lithium, cobalt, rare earths, and nickel are, critical to daily life, powering electronics, renewable energy, and electricity mobility. Globally, energy needs could double the demand for critical mineral by 2040, requiring over $500 billion in mining investment in the next 15 years. For many countries, this represents an unprecedented opportunity for growth, diversification, and job creation. But this opportunity comes with distinct challenges. High cost of technology, infrastructure, and human capital undermine project viability. Geopolitical risks, including trade disruptions, tariff restrictions, and reshaping global supply network, fueling market instability and increasing prices. Urgent but uncertain demand due to rapid technological change discourages long-term investment. Concentration of processing in few countries leaves supply chain exposed to shocks, and new players struggle to compete. Finally, the financial architecture is not fit for purpose. We lack integrated tools that combine offtake agreement, price risk mitigation, and guarantees. Addressing these challenges requires bold, coordinated action, policies that reduce risks, ensure transparency, and strengthen cross-border collaboration. The World Bank Group has 60 and even more than 60 years of experience in mining and mineral development, with more than 40 projects over 20 countries. We have proven capacity to anchor mining projects in sound regulation and strong environmental and social standards, mobilize significantly private investment, link projects directly to job growth and sustainable infrastructure. Building on this track record and responding to client demand, we are embarking on a new approach to metals and minerals. World Bank Group supports on metals and minerals in developing countries is expected to grow by 5 times in the next 5 years. It is a huge commitment to all of you to support our journey. In countries with strong geological potential, the World Bank Group will deliver by focusing on 3 core pillars: strengthening policies and governance, investing in enabling and resilient infrastructures, and mobilizing responsible private capital across the full value chain, from extraction to processing and manufacturing, to deliver jobs and value addition in countries.
How does one then mobilize global capital for mining investment that will benefit Africa's mining sector, despite global geopolitical tension disrupting supply chains and causing uncertainty?
I think for me, when I looked at the conference and what it was referred to and how Saudi refers to itself as really a key player and establishing the super region, and you look at its location on the map relative to Africa, to the west, and to Asia, to the east, and how these regions were connected from a very important continuum of the critical minerals that are going to be needed to enable the energy transition and the technology transformation, but more importantly, the role that Saudi Arabia saw itself playing in this whole continuum. It made it important for South African and I think through amongst others, the Minerals Council of South Africa to be present and to have a presence at the table, not only at the conference, but also in the ministerial roundtable, where we're able to give the voice of the continent in terms of the role that we can play as a country and as a region and as a continent.
It's a very collaborative process under the leadership of the Future Minerals Forum, McKinsey, Global AI, and S&P Global and GlobeScan. We all did our part together, and actually it's a very iterative process. We did a lot of macro research. We did a lot of sectoral research. We don't create data. We look at data primary sources, but we dig deeper. We used, for my entity, Global AI, we looked at data mostly also at the very micro level data to validate, and most of the data we also use AI tools to understand what is happening on the ground. So this process is actually a fascinating process in terms of 4 entities coming together and putting our brains together and bringing a report that is useful for the policymakers. Our target audience, of course, are the policymakers and the business leaders, so that they would look at the report, look at the framework that we have, and that would help them to take the right decision going forward.
Just in the last 3 years, we have seen investments of over $10 billion coming in different spheres, both in the brownfield and the greenfields. We have one greenfield mine that is coming up in a town called Chilabombe, being done by an American company called Cobalt. It's called Bingomba Mine, and it's poised to be one of the largest copper mines on the continent of Africa. So, and there's an investment of $2 billion that will go into that. I think this year by April, we are launching the shaft sinking. That shows you the confidence, because I always say that for anybody to start sinking a shaft, because basically sinking a shaft is you're sinking your own money in the ground, you know. So for you to do that, it means that you have the confidence that you still be around to see value coming out of that mine where you are sinking a shaft. So that is showing confidence. Again, We have had a mine that was closed and forgotten in a place called Waisha for 23 years. It was flooded, was shut down, and everybody forgot. But because of the policy environment that has been created in Zambia, as we are speaking right now, they are just completing the dewatering process, and that mine is going into production. It is owned by, the Chinese government. So, and it's a JV with the Zambian people. So really, those are some of the projects that are showing. And then we have had a lot of other brownfield mines that were riddled with legal battles. But because of the policy environment, the policy direction, let's not just argue in court and get back to the mine fields. We have Konkola copper mines back on board. We have Mopani copper mines back on board. All those have attracted investments in excess of $1 billion and $2 billion. So for us, that is an indication that there is now confidence in the Zambian economy. And that is also showing with the growth figures in the economy. Because Zambia is predominantly a mining, dependent, jurisdiction. 17% of our GDP comes from the mining sector. So really, the confidence is showing, the economy is growing. The time we were taking over, it was at negative 2.8%. It has shot now to over 5%. That is because the mining sector has been resuscitated. How has that happened? Policy. Attractiveness of the Zambian environment.
While critical and rare earth minerals are gaining significant attention in discussions about FMF, precious minerals are not left in the cold and dark. Gold and silver reached new highs in early 2026, driven in part by geopolitical uncertainty sparked by US President Trump's Greenland push, prompting investors to seek safe haven assets. Additionally, Saudi Arabia is also experiencing a major mining expansion, and Africa is on the investment map.
The gold strategy for the world is one. There is no difference in Saudi Arabia and other. But the gold, when it increase, it is good for the profitability for the mining company. But the gold price is affected by the politician and by the world economy, and the weakness of the dollar and the stability of the world. So the gold now reaching that this price, 4,500, and according to the announcement from JP Morgan, it might reach $10,000 per ounce. That's not related to the value for the gold, but related for the safety and the comfort of the world of the currency, because the currency is a matter of the paper. But it's backing up the currency.
All right, let's get into your activities here at the Future Minerals Forum for Saudi Gold Refinery. I see that you've been quite busy signing some deals. Bring us up to speed on what has happened so far.
So far, we already inquired from Ethiopia. It is 1,200 square meters as a 3 license, which is mineral build, which is potential. We will create our lab, our drilling, our department, all to be combined, so we serve the vision to be very fast and accelerate our exploration. As well as we already signed a joint venture in Saudi Arabia with some Australian company to have a parallel to our success with Saudi Gold Refinery and other company. And we are negotiating with other Canadian company to join it. And also we have a joint venture with one Chinese company to come. All this partnership to achieve the vision for 2030, which are announced by the NIDLIB and the ministry to achieve the goal for the Saudi Arabia, which is extract the gold and refine it as pure and reduce the minerals or the compound to serve the industry.
The launch of the FMF Barometer report does lay the foundation of where mining activities are attracting most attention. But what does the global mining outlook for 2026 look like?
See the global growth in 2026 of the 3.1%. But the good news is that this region, the super region, is outpacing the global growth. So in 2026, we expect that FMF super region comprising Middle East and Central Asia and North Africa we would see much stronger growth rate, going from 2.8 to 3.6% in 2026. So there are momentum. I would just mention three challenges going forward. One is obviously we don't know the direction of the interest rates, which is set by the Federal Reserve, so other central banks follow. We expect interest rate to go down, but how fast it will go down, which is very important for investments and for growth of the sector. So that is one challenge that we have to take into account, other than geopolitical challenges. Second factor that we have to look at is a weaker dollar, which is not necessarily a bad thing for most of the countries, because weaker dollar means the export revenues for the countries that are exporting the critical minerals, their revenue goes up. Flip side of that is that also investment becomes more costly. So you have to buy local goods and services to invest, and then it discourages investment. And the third challenge that is not an immediate challenge, how do you integrate those economies better? There are some corridors, we're talking about DRC Zambia corridor, or the corridor in the bauxite, Guinea, Liberia. We need to expedite those processes. And still there's a lot of challenges with connectivity within the region, within the corridors that we are looking at. I think this is where we need to have a lot more emphasis in terms of building the infrastructure, improving connectivity, and policy coherence.
So I think there are really two parts to that. If I think about the playbook coming out. So clearly the geopolitics, it's all about securing their supply chains for different regions, different countries. I think that's something that's going to continue to play out. We've obviously seen some very aggressive moves from the United States over the last year in terms of the tariffs that they've put in place. Some of the moves that they've made, very proactive moves in terms of investing in various projects. I think we're hearing the EU coming up with some of their various strategies, and it's important to understand how Africa is going to play on that continent. And of course, China's got a dominant position. So I think the geopolitics is going to continue to play out. For us as a company, we have very intentionally positioned ourselves to be able to supply into Western supply chains. I think we recognized early on that China was a dominant player in many of these critical metals. And therefore, we had an opportunity to supply into the West dominant supply chain. The supply chains would need to catch up, being the Western world. So that's sort of how we've positioned ourselves in that regard, both in Europe and in the US. But I think the other key part that's also been discussed by Loipe at the conferences, it's one thing having a discussion around resilience for countries or regions, but really that is a conversation about looking after your slice of the pie. What we also need to discuss is how do we grow the pie? And that becomes a far more difficult conversation and requires far more collaboration. And I think that's also going to be a theme of 2026. And I think that is a theme where Africa, in particular, given its mineral endowment, given the opportunities that it has got a very important position and place at that table for that discussion.
The Future of Minerals Forum is not only a platform for discussing the future of mining, but also presents exhibitors with networking opportunities and to create meetings for like-minded industry peers.
The Future Mineral Forum is not a platform, a conference, or an exhibition. The Future Mineral Forum is a cause to bring development to Supplier region and also more minerals to the world. A cause that, the objective of our economic development is prosperity, but well-being for the people and the communities and economies of the whole world. We have to share into it. We have to use it. There's a high demand in minerals. Minerals is no more a backstage. It's a front stage subject. So this is great for mineral resource rich country to have this opportunity for so this is the dawn of a new mineral development, a mineral to be used for the great prosperity of the people of the whole world, but more to the Supplier region.
So the Future Minerals Forum is a very positive name. We are talking about minerals as being vital to global development, to the energy transition, to the digital age, and to security. And so by looking to the future and the role of minerals, we are aiming to deliver a positive message to all our stakeholders, but particularly to young people, Those who are at home or at the school, universities, thinking of what to do as far as a career is concerned, and we're here to say we need you. The minerals industry is growing. The demand is vast. We have a long way to catch up to meet that demand, and we will need many more people. In some parts of the world in particular, say Africa, where these new industries are emerging or growing, there's an estimated shortfall there will be an estimated shortfall of approximately 500,000 jobs. So we need to engage with Africa, we need to engage with South America and other supplier regions to develop those skills.
So now there's a framework in place. Speak to us about what that next phase will look like in terms of implementation of this framework.
So the framework has been submitted to the governments, has been tabled at the Ministerial Round Table. Governments have until the end of March to provide feedback on the document. Thereafter, the framework will become effective. What it will mean is the Ministerial will have overarching responsibility for ensuring that these initiatives are put in place. There will be a ministerial steering group established to help guide that work at a more detailed level. And in addition, there'll be coordination groups as well as a new business advisory group. So this is where governments and business come together to look at how we progress all this work and also think about what's next. And how governments, one of the key elements of the conversation here is what are the options or frameworks or opportunities for governments and industry to talk and deliver outcomes in a more effective way. So all of that will be developed in the coming months, in addition to the work we're already undertaking.
Ending the Future Minerals Forum on a high note, connecting investors from the super region with the global economy. The future of mining remains strong within the critical minerals interest, with the urgent need to improve and sustain the mineral supply chain, increasing job creation in the sector and improving economic development.